金色ラブリッチェ。
December 24th, Christmas Eve.
先輩、夜から雪マークついてます。
Could we expect a white Christmas this year? I'd say the odds were high given how the sky looked. This region didn't get much snow, so it was considerably rare for it to snow on Christmas.
降るなら楽しみですよね。
You sure do love snow.
燃えますよね。
Talk about polar opposites. I did enjoy it to some degree, but a part of me felt annoyed at the idea of it piling up. I sounded like a grumpy old man, didn't I? Oh well, it was to be expected that I couldn't work up any excitement today. It wasn't serious enough to talk about, but I was waiting on Reina's test results and it was weighing heavily on my mind.
ただいま。
Hey, did it go okay?
あのね、オーロ、実は。
Reina pat her abdomen.
だから妊娠はしていません。先週もやりましたよね、これ。
早かっちバラすの早い。
Nah, you walked in with that serious look on your face and I thought, she's pulling the same stunt as last week, too.
二人ともノリ悪いかよ。
Her results were negative even on the 2-week checkup. Are we in the clear now?
現代医学では 99.9% 陰性だったと判断します。
晴れてあの 3P は3人のお楽しみ会だったってことになりましたとさ。
This was a load off my mind.
安心はしたけど、こうなるとちょっと寂しいような。どうだい2人とも。妊娠してなかった記念ってことで、これから一発 3P 第2回戦とか。
Yes! Hey Reina, that's not funny. We were supposed to treat that like it never happened. I'd be fine with it, but Jogasaki's gonna be pissed. Jogasaki?
するわけないでしょ。バカじゃないの。
I know that. You didn't need to yell at me. What was with that awkwardly long pause just now? Jogasaki ran off.
早かっち、なかなかあの件はネタにしてくれないな。
Not like we could force her. We tried to laugh the whole thing off, but she always had this super serious and beet red look on her face whenever the topic came up. Probably just a matter of her disposition, and there was no helping that.
案外本当にまた 3P やりたがってたりして。
No chance in hell, it's Jogasaki.
だよね。
Hahaha.
想像したら垂れて。
Mm-hmm.
さて、そんであとは？
We need to be on standby until 5 o'clock.
ちょっと長いね。
The day was still young and we had quite a bit of time left until Sylvie's party later tonight. With no other options, we decided to hang out and watch another movie together. Pretty chilly today, huh?
ねえ。オーロって一番好きな映画何？
Return to the Future.
ああ。
There's also Star Warfare, or the one where they go on a journey to throw away a ring.
三部作が好きなの？
Not really, but they wrap up the story nicely. I got bored with Pori Hatter by the 4th movie.
あれは子役が成長しちゃうとどうしてもね。
What's your favorite movie?
君名は。ちょっと前だと雪の女王。
Refreshingly mainstream, huh?
否定はしない。
It was a leisurely time. Is this a conversation to have on Christmas?
いいじゃん別に。だらだらイチャイチャしてようぜ。寒い日はそれが一番。
Well, yeah. Reina cuddled up to me. Her boobs against my arm felt wonderful. When?
何？
It felt like you had a lot of nipples.
怖いこと言うなよ。ああ。
She removed the item from her breast pocket. Pills? What are those for?
ピル。アフターじゃないやつ。
That was unexpected. Did you get these from the doctor?
うん。なんかね、食後30分以内に服用し、その1時間後を目安に交渉を開始しましょう。だって。こういうのって直前に飲んでさあ来いってイメージだったけど、使い方はちゃんとしてるんだね。
Medicine is medicine after all. So, why?
そりゃあ、まあね。
The reason she'd gotten these pills. It wasn't as if I couldn't piece it together if I thought it through. I'm fine with using condoms.
いやー、わかっちゃいるけど。
Reina smiled bashfully. Ah, you want to do it without one too?
だってさ、前にした時の記憶ほとんどないし。
That really put me on the spot. Perhaps it would be in our best interest to use a condom, as they were supposed to be nearly as effective as birth control pills. Not only that, but the idea of Reina taking a pill kind of bothered me. But if we could do it without a condom... If it's only once, it might be nice.
だよね。それでハマらなきゃね。
It wouldn't be wise to blindly trust the effectiveness of her birth control pills. It would be unfortunate if we didn't take advantage of the opportunity if it presented itself, though. This was part of being balanced, wasn't it? An embarrassed smile crossed Helena's face. What do you want to have for lunch? It was a little after 11 in the morning. It was still a little early, but if she needed to take medicine with a meal, then it made sense why she'd want an early lunch. Helena grinned from ear to ear. And that was when...
先輩、大変です。
Huh?
失礼しました。
Hold up, Akane-chan. We moved apart when we realized our cuddling had been too much for her to bear. After we discreetly hid Elena's birth control pills.
お忙しいところ、すいません。いやいや、むしろ一番忙しくないとこだったし。
Akane-chan had effectively shut us down when we were about to get busy, though.
実は、外に変な人たちが。
Huh?
よくは見えなかったんですけど、外でお洗濯してたら、寮を覗いてる男の人たちがいたんです。あれって、レイナ先輩がおっしゃってた。ほら。
Yeah, Akane-chan, tell the boarders to be careful.
はい。
We'd neglected to mention it to El-san, but we'd run into a similar issue on an entirely separate occasion. It was a shock that they would show up at this time of day and in broad daylight. Oh well. Should make it easy to identify them.
武器、あるよ。
A knife. I readied my equipment just in case. This dome was security conscious, so there were alarms you could press directly linked to the police, among other security items. Assuming I would call the cops later, I got some personal security items, a small air horn and pepper spray. Together in the event, I'd need them. I scoped out the outside. You two stay inside.
大丈夫。私も武器ある。いざという時は、戦います。
Reina and Akane-chan, who were carrying a can of mace and a mop respectively, followed after me. I didn't want to put them in danger, but I wasn't exactly the fighting type myself, and it helped to have others with me who were armed.
見たっていうのは？
裏です。こっち。
We headed to the other side of the dorm. Oh yeah, just to cover our bases completely, I grabbed my cell phone.
あれ？いないな。油断しないで。隠れてるのかも。
We went from behind the dorm to somewhere even more open.
はい。
I called Elsan. We'd be all set if Elsan were here to fight them off. Either way, she offered to take a look into possible suspects and could have some vital information for us. When I asked,
不審者ですか？
Have you figured anything out?
ああ、はい。寮の周りを見ていたものは分かりました。
Who were they?
はい。害はなしと見て放置しております。何せ全員。
Hmm? All of a sudden, a nearby bush rustled. 3 men suddenly appeared. Wah!
あら、危ない！先輩！
全員、あなたの昔のご友人でした。
おろ、やっと見つけた。
Huh? They were my acquaintances from the baseball club.
くらえ！
わ、なに？
伏せて！レイナ先輩！先輩を守るため、この陸上部で鍛えた脚力による茜バーニングファイヤーキック！
Ah, this kind of turned into a huge mess. Oh well. Feeling any better now?
いってててててて。まだ目がしょぼしょぼする。
いやー、ごめんごめん。すいませんでした。
They trespassed on private property, so it's fine.
あの催涙スプレー使ったのかい？あれ期限切れてるから腐ってるかも。目に入ったなら病院行った方がいいよ。
This whole thing was a disaster. The 3 suspicious characters turned out to be my former teammates from the baseball club. We'd passed by each other previously, and it eventually turned into a small tussle. They were the 3 athletes from Hamanan. What were you guys doing here? It was safe to assume they were here for me. They'd seen me heading toward Noble Academy before, and they likely heard something about my enrollment from Torio. What I didn't know was why they came. They hated me, and I couldn't deny that the feeling was mutual. This was why it was best if we had no involvement with each other. That was the unspoken agreement I'd left behind. According to Reina, these degenerates had been popping up now and again all over campus for the last week. That meant they weren't just screwing around. Hopefully they had a good reason for trespassing.
もっと早く会いたかったんだけど、まずお前がノーブル学園なんて通ってるってのが信じられなくてさ。しかも冬休み入っちゃったし。そっちの彼女さんを見つけたから聞こうとしたけど、すぐ逃げられちゃったし。その後も来てたんだけど、なんか黒服の外人さんにとっ捕まって尋問されて、しばらく来れなくて。ノーブル学園のセキュリティってすごいよな。
I more or less understood the situation now. I kinda get it, but why did you come here?
ああ、うん。なあ、市松。島君のこと聞いてるよな。
Hmm? Torio? What about what? I knew he'd been through a lot, in and out of a slump anyway.
アメリカから誘いが来たって。
Huh? That I didn't know. Nor had I seen it coming.
アメリカの交渉に、まあメジャーだわな。どっかのチームの代理人が交渉しに来たんだって。アマナンは退学して向こうの大きなチームの傘下で野球やらないかって。
ああ、知らなかったみたいだな。ほら、 やっぱダメじゃん一松。聞かされてもいないよ。
They assumed I was already in the loop and grimaced when our conversation hadn't panned out as well as they'd hoped. My mind went blank when they clamped up, so our discussion came to a momentary standstill, but...
つまりアメリカで支配下に入るってことですか？どういうこと？こっちの野球はやめていきなりアメリカで選手を目指すってことです。
Lucky for us, we had Akane-chan and Reina here.
普通ならまず日本でプロになってそこで実力が認められてようやく向こうへってなるんですけど。まだ若いうちに青たかり的な？そういうことだと思います。あんまり聞いたことないけど。そうなん？
すごく珍しいことだとは思うよ。
That probably would have ended the conversation if it were me, but I bet they were reluctant to cut it short now that a pair of adorable women had chimed in, and so they continued.
でもほら、島君は去年から実力を認められてただろ。今年はだけど。
Yeah. Pro baseball teams from around the world and throughout Japan had their sights set on Torio all last year.
今年はスランプだから少なくとも向こうの話は消えたと思ってたんだけど、やっぱり島君は規格外だからまだ誘われてる。
It was a surprise, but not completely unexpected. Torio had incredible potential, and it was only natural for the teams in the United States, the country in which baseball originated from, to show an interest in him and his talents. So, what about it? If you wanted me to back him not to leave, then you count me out. From their perspective, losing Torio would be the same as missing out on next year's tournament. I knew they'd be in hot water if they let him go. Either way, it was none of my business. Torio's opinion was more important to me than whatever these guys wanted. Crushing their adolescence for a second time was somewhat heartbreaking though. Or so I thought.
とんでもない。逆だよ。
島君、断っちゃったんだそれ。うちを辞めると思ってたんだけど、続けるって。
Huh? Oh, now I get it. I'd heard rumors of Torio quitting the team, but he'd personally refuted those claims. So, that was what was going on, huh?
なんで断るの？アメリカ行くのって野球やってれば一番の目標なんでしょ？
知らないよ。英語が喋れないとか不安とかそういうことかもしれないけど。
俺たちに気を使ってか。
All three of them gazed downward.
だから一松なら知ってるかもって思って来たんだけど。
They stared at me bitterly. What the heck? Yeah, we were childhood friends, but I obviously didn't know everything about him. Oh well, never mind that. There were bigger fish to fry. Right, my bad. Ignoring that for a second, but what did you mean when you said it was the opposite? Were you hoping I'd tell him to go? That was the simplest conclusion to reach. Although it meant these guys would be giving up on next year's tournament. All three nodded their heads.
島君は絶対メジャーでも成功する男だ。でもこのままじゃ俺たちが足を引っ張って日本でプロになれるかすら怪しい。悔しいけど。
Maybe he wants to stay in Japan because of Chieka. She is his girlfriend after all.
今は最大のチャンスだと思う。
だから挑戦してほしい。
俺たちだけじゃない。部員の総意だよ。
That was an exceptionally self-sacrificing decision they made. You probably already know this, but you won't get very far next year without him.
失礼だな。俺たちそんな弱くねえよ。
You've got a snowball's chance in hell of making it to nationals, though.
わかってる。
They seem to understand the gravity of the situation. You want Torio to go regardless?
本当言うと、俺たちも惜しいよ。残って一緒にやりたいし、全国にも行きたい。
でもダメなんだ。今のままじゃ島君、来年まで持たないかも。
Hold out?
監督がもう切れちゃってるんだよ、夏の成績のせいで。
球が安定しないのは練習が足りないからだって。毎日島君に投げ込みばっかり命じてる。島君はあの通りだから毎日それに付き合って、他の練習ほとんどなしでピッチングばっかりなんだ。
ピッチャーさんって毎日投げるのはダメなんですよね。怪我しちゃうとかで。
ガラスの肘とかそういうの？
It doesn't apply to every pitcher, but they often gamble with their already worn down limbs, like their shoulders and elbows, and pray they won't break. From what I read in a sports magazine, the human body could safely throw 100 balls at around 60 kilometers per hour in a single day. If one were to exceed this, it would put excessive centrifugal force upon their arm and further strain their shoulder and elbow, which could cause the capillaries in their fingers to rupture from the increased blood flow. Modern-day pitchers were clearly overworked and expected to pitch at 100 kilometers per hour even in elementary school. Pro pitchers were expected to, at the bare minimum, to pitch at 130 kilometers per hour or 140 kilometers per hour. They were essentially fragile, disposable commodities playing a game of chicken. This was the reason starting pitchers could only pitch once a week. It was of course normal for them to keep their number of pitches in check during practice though. How many pitches was he up to?
練習が始まってから終わるまでずっと。
That's crazy.
それで練習を見に来てた向こうの人が慌てて島君に接触したみたい。
It all made sense now. That was why they felt the need to step in and broke the unspoken rule that athletes were off limits when they were still students.
なあ、頼むよ市松。お前からも言ってやってくれ。
メジャーも厳しいは厳しいだろうけど、浜南にいるよりはマシなはずだよ。
俺たちが言っても聞かないんだ。でもお前なら幼馴染だろ。だからほら。
Huh. I didn't want to deal with this anymore either. Let me see what he has to say at least.
頼む。
We were only going to talk, and I wasn't promising I'd be able to persuade him.
緊張したけど。
来てよかったよ、市松。
They smiled at me. They kind of looked like everything had been resolved. Man, they were dumping all of this on me. Oh well, I needed to hear him out, at the very least. I could do that much for them. You better not hold it against me if you don't get to go to nationals for the second year in a row.
恨んでねえよ。
今年行けなかったのも俺たちの練習不足だよ。
Their brilliant smiles never wavered. They knew it was pointless to pin their loss on anyone other than themselves. With that, it was clear I was the only one who had lost something after being driven off the team. Well, no sense worrying about it at this point.
にしてもお前、ノーブル学園入ったってマジなんだな。
どうやったんだよ、羨ましい。
てか、この寮で暮らしてるんだよな。この寮、この1週間女子しか見てないんだけど。
In a completely cheerful shift of tone, they brought up my current living situation. It was kinda crazy, but dropping out of Hamanan was the best thing that ever happened to me. I got an adorable girlfriend out of it too.
どうも、彼女です。
この前も言ってたね。本当に彼女なんだ。
かわいい。
付き合ってるってマジなの？てかほら、お前この子の前はもっとビッチっぽいこと。
Leah's just a friend. Don't call her slutty.
俺、ああいう派手な子すごい好みなんだけど、友達なら紹介してくれない？
Trust me, you're not her type.
くさ。てか、この子ですら相当羨ましいんだけど。
だよな。この前からめちゃくちゃ可愛いとは思ってたんだよ。
そうもっと言ってもっと。
A bit of a superiority complex.
ねえ、いいかしら。
Jogasaki must have noticed we were at a good stopping point and came down from the second floor.
なんかエロい美人が。
部外者の男子がここにいるのは支障があるのです。話なら市松さんのお部屋でしてくれません？
Oh, sorry. Upon closer inspection, I noticed several girls peeking their heads out of their rooms from the second and third floors, and they looked far too scared to come downstairs with guys around.
やっぱり全員女の子だ。しかも全員レベル高め。
We are done anyway. They were just leaving.
ああ、帰る。
まったく、庶民が入り込むと困るわ。
Jogasaki was being prickly for the first time in ages.
うわぁ、エロいけど性格悪そうな女。
Now that she'd said her piece, she started to head back to the second floor. When? Ah, Jogasaki, hold on a sec.
Huh?
You've got lint on your butt. Tuck. What? Jogasaki jumped up in surprise when I gently plucked some rubbish off her clothes, and her knees nearly gave out from under her. I quickly caught her. You okay?
ありがとう、市松さん。
I returned her to normal, upright position. Nothing particularly noteworthy otherwise.
くっついただけであのトロンとした顔。あの子、市松の子だ。
おい市松、お前ノーブル学園でどんな生活を？
Huh? Just then.
あら
Oh! Someone I hadn't seen in some time entered the dorm.
あのお方はまさか。
迎えに来ちゃった。もう準備はできている？早く一緒に行きましょう。
I guess she had come to pick me up for the party. Aren't you a little early?
わあ、早く行きましょうよ。おしゃべりの時間も欲しいわ。私、今年のクリスマスはオーラと一緒に過ごすのだけを楽しみにしてきたのよ。
She seemed awfully hyped up about hanging out after being apart for the last week.
お久しぶり。
こっちの子は。
間違いない。シルビア様とカミナル様だ。
しばらく会えませんでしたが、朝はちゃんと起きられていまして。あなた、私が毎朝起こしてあげないとちっとも早起きできないんですもの。あと、私との約束はちゃんと守れていまして。
Yeah. I did finish cleaning.
本当でしょうね。まったくあなたは私がいないとダメなんですから。この1週間ずっと気になっていましたわ。あなたの
不審者の件は片付いたようですね。
Oh, yeah.
それで市松殿、例の今度、不審物の体液の話なのですが、
Elsan whispered to me.
DNA を調べた結果、あなたのものだったようで。
That was an accident.
詳しく事情を聞かせなさい。場合によっては腕を取ります。
It was an accident. Please don't be mad, Elsan.
怒らないわけがないでしょう。どんな理由があれ、あなたが私にその性を、いやらしいものをぶちまけたのは事実です。
Keep your voice down. Make sure the others don't hear you. It looked like they had overheard.
低層を奪われました。
You're blowing this way out of proportion.
赤ちゃんができたらどうするんです？初めてだったのに。
That's a bizarre way of putting it.
市松さん、僕たち
違う世界の人間になってしまいましたけど、お元気で。
Yeah. I saw the three of them off.
あら、相変わらずモテるね、オーロは。
レーナは焼き餅とか焼かないのかい？
いやー、彼氏がモテるんは気分いいっすわ。
There's no way I'd ever be popular though.
まあ市松に任せれば大丈夫だよな。
あ
あ
でもあいつ嫌いだわ。
あ、
あ、あ
すいません。
ああ、さっきの何か。
お見送りに来ました。さっきは蹴っちゃってすい
そうなんだ。いや、気にしないで。
いい子だな。それにこの子も可愛い。
ません。それと感動しました。皆さんの心意気に。来年の自分たちが不利になること分かってても、島さんのご友人のためを思って行動できるところとか、エースを書いてもあくまで上位を狙う姿勢、スポーツに携わる同志として感動しました。熱血です。頑張ってください。応援してますね。
うん。
天使だ。
惚れた。
やっぱり市松先輩のお友達さんだけあって皆さんすごい人ばっかりです。今度先輩の昔のこと教えてください。私先輩のこともっと知りたくて。ではお先に失礼します。
嫌いだ。